Sometimes in C# programming you might want to do fairly complicated types of tests, so in this video I'm going to introduce how to do those sorts of tests using some of the C# operators.
First, take a look at this. Here I declare an int, an integer, variable called num, and I set its value to 1 plus 5 times 2. 1 plus 5 multiplied by 2. So what's the result here? Is it 11 or is it 12? If this is evaluated as 1 plus 5 equals 6 multiplied by 2, the result should be 12. But it could be evaluated as 5 multiplied by 2 equals 10, plus the 1 gives 11. Let's try it out. And click the button, and the result is in fact 11. Now why is that? Well, it turns out that each operator has what's called a precedence. That is the order in which it's evaluated. If something has a high precedence, it's evaluated before something with a low precedence. A multiplication operator has a high precedence. So in this expression, it's evaluated before the addition. So C# sees this calculation. It calculates 5 multiplied by 2 equals 10, and then it adds on the 1. So as we saw, giving the result 11. But there may be times when you don't want to evaluate expressions in that particular order. Well, you can force the expression evaluation. You can force the order to be evaluated by putting parentheses around certain parts of the expression. So now this says add 1 to 5, giving a result of 6, and multiply that by 2. So this time, and the result is 12. Now there are quite complicated rules of precedence, and you can look them up if you're interested in working out all the different levels of precedence of the operators. But for the sake of simplicity, and also it's just clearer when you look at somebody's code, I think it's good practice to just bracket out those bits of code that you want evaluated together, put parentheses around them, as I've done here, so it's absolutely clear that what's going on here is an addition of 1 to 5 and the result being multiplied by 2.
All the sample code for the projects in this course are available for free download from the Bitwise Books website.
Now, something else I want to look at. Let's set this variable to 1. Often you'll want to increment a variable. You'll want to add 1 to it. So you can do that in this way. You can give the variable name, the assignment operator, the variable a name again, and then the value you want to be added to it. So what I've said here is, you can see first of all num is equal to 1. Then in the next line I say assign num plus 1 to num. So what that means is num is equal to 1, I add 1 to it, the calculation is done, the result is returned, here it would be 2, and it assigns the new value back to the variable. So just verify that I'm getting the results I expect. And indeed, the result is 2. But there's another way of doing this in C#. It's such a common operation that there is a special operator for it. So I can do num plus equals 1. And that means the same thing. It means add 1 to num. Again, run it. You can verify the result is again 2, but I could put some other value if I wanted. And again, it returns the result of num plus the number I specified, which is 11, so num was 1, plus 11 gives me 12. And there are other operators which work in a similar way, and these are called compound operators. And you can see examples of these in the operators solution, which is provided in the sample archive. And you can see I've got a number of examples of using the simple operators and the compound operators, which you can test to see the different results. Now notice here, I've actually displayed these in a string using this plus. This plus is not an addition in the sense of adding a number to a number. This concatenates the result of the evaluation of this expression to the string. Now a question may arise here, how can I do this? Because haven't I said previously that you need to convert numbers to strings before displaying them? It turns out that this is a bit of sleight of hand that's going on behind the scenes. Actually C#, when it sees this concatenation operator with a number and it's trying to concatenate it to a string, it automatically calls a two-string conversion on the numeric value. Now also notice I've called this method, add to text box. I didn't want to have to write this code each time. This code just takes the string value, for example a plus b, and the number that's appended to it, and it displays it in the text box. So this is a little preview of how to call named methods, and we'll be looking at that shortly. So play around with that and you'll see the results when you click this button. Another common shortcut that's used in C# and many other C-like programming languages, when you want to increment a value by 1, instead of using this syntax, you can just put two pluses after the variable name. So that has the effect of adding 1 to the present value of the variable. So the variable starts with the value 1, let's run it, and you can see now it has the value 2. And you can similarly use two minuses to subtract 1 from the value of a variable. And if I run it again, the variable starts with value 1, and of course it goes to the value 0 because 1 has been taken away from it.
To learn programming in depth, enroll in one of my courses or read one of my books. More information at bitwisebooks.com.